The last video you saw, I showed you how to make a scatter plot in Excel, and the first thing you had to do was create a new sheet in Excel and copy over the variables that you wanted to study, and they really had to be in this order. You want to have your explanatory variable listed to the left of your response variable. Okay, so you want your explanatory variable on the left, response variable on the right, and then it was really easy for us to make a graph. So this video shows you how to calculate the correlation, and to calculate the correlation, we're going to again highlight these two columns. So I highlight the first column and slide over, highlight the second column, and then I go to data, and then I choose data analysis. If you don't have that, you either weren't here when I showed you how to get this, or you were not paying attention when I showed you how to get the data analysis add-in. So you should have this. If you don't, ask someone who was here or who was paying attention to show you how to get it. So I click on data analysis, and right here is correlation. So I want to choose that. I want to say okay. I've highlighted the columns, but it looks like I need to highlight them again, so I'm just going to go over here and highlight those two columns. So I should see what looks like kind of a dashed line all the way around my data. So, and they're grouped in columns. I want to click on labels in first row because I do have labels in the first row. This is going to create a new sheet. And if I want to right now, I can give it a name. So I could call this correlation with income and high school, something descriptive like that. So, because we're going to have all these tabs at the bottom of our screen, so that makes it easier to identify. Then I'm going to say okay. All right, cool. So what comes up is a tiny little table, and all we need is the one number. Okay, the ones are just kind of silly. The ones show us the correlation between household income and household income. Of course, they're going to have a correlation of 1. They're the exact same numbers. But the one we're really interested in is the correlation between household income and high school graduation rates. I really don't need so many digits. I was just going to try to be cool and copy that. But all I really need is this number. I'm going to copy it. Actually, I'll go ahead and copy the whole thing. So again, I'll do Windows Shift S and try to make it nice and clean. So highlight over the whole table. Then I'm going to go to OneNote. And there I have my correlations. So I'm looking for you guys to explain what the correlation means, of course, in the context of the problem. Okay, so many of you had a categorical variable and 2 quantitative variables, but some of you did not have a categorical variable and you had actually 3 quantitative variables. So if you have another quantitative variable, so let's say I'm only studying quantitative variables and I'm trying to predict high school graduation rate, I need another variable to take a look at. So maybe I'm going to look at percent in poverty. So I'm going to have to create another sheet. I'm going to copy percent in poverty, copy that, create a new sheet. Whoops, that needs to go here. I need the states to go here. So my state names go right here. They do. No, they don't. I didn't copy. So copy, paste. And then again, I need my high school graduation rate. So copy that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the whole thing again. So I'm going to take now a new predictor variable. I want to see if this percent in poverty is a better predictor of high school graduation rate. Kind of looks like it is. So you do the same thing, change your axis labels, change your title, change the axis range if you need to, and you would calculate your correlation, data analysis, correlation. I want columns B and C, labels in first row, and so at this time I would say correlation between poverty and high school graduation rates. So then I say okay. So look at that, I got a negative 0.76. The other one was negative 0.5 something, 0.59. So this association is stronger, but it's negative. So I would be saying something like the higher the percentage of the state that is in poverty, the lower the high school graduation rate. So if you think about it, sort of sociological factors, that kind of makes sense. So I would again copy this, Control Windows Shift S, get my table, go into OneNote. I would have made a scatter plot. I would put my new correlation in here. And then in my conclusion, I'm going to say which variable seems to be more closely related to my response variable. And I'm definitely going to say the poverty variable is more closely related. I'm going to reference the scatter plot. Looks like it's a stronger association, and the correlation looks like it seems to reflect a stronger association as well. There are fewer outlying observations, fewer states that really deviate from the trend here. Okay, so that's your tutorial for finding correlation, and your goal is to finish project assignment 2.1.